Mind Your Language, the legendary British sitcom, had millions of viewers laughing out loud from 1977 to 1986 with its hilarious tales of a multicultural English class. Familiar faces like Jeremy Brown, Ranjit Singh, and Miss Courtney didn't just bring the laughs, they also stirred up waves of childhood nostalgia for many fans. In this video, we'll uncover the real names and hidden stories behind these beloved characters. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go! Barry Evans as Jeremy Brown. Barry Joseph Evans was born on June 18, 1943, in Guildford, Surrey. At 34, he took on the role that would define his career, Jeremy Brown, the kind-hearted, patient English teacher in the hit sitcom Mind Your Language, 1977 to 1979, 1986. His gentle charm, boyish innocence, and comedic timing made him an instantly beloved figure across the UK and beyond. Orphaned at a young age, Evans was raised in a boarding school run by Shaftesbury Homes. His acting talent blossomed early, earning him the prestigious John Gielgud Scholarship to study at the Central School of Speech and Drama. After a star-making turn in Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush, 1968, he was hailed as one of Britain's brightest young film stars. By the mid-1990s, offers had all but dried up. To make ends meet, Barry worked as a minicab driver and once wrote to a TV network simply to declare, "I'm still alive." In 1997, his life ended in mystery. He was found dead at age 53 in the living room of his home in Lutterworth, Leicestershire, shortly after reporting his stolen taxi. He had a head injury, a blood alcohol level 4 times the legal limit, and a handwritten will beside an expired packet of aspirin. His death shocked fans and served as a stark reminder of the harsh realities of show business, where fame can be fleeting and loneliness lingers behind the laughter. Albert Moses as Ranjit Singh. Albert Moses was born on December 19, 1937, in Gampola, in Sri Lanka's Kandy region. At 40 years old, he rose to fame as Ranjit Singh, the turbaned Sikh from Punjab in Mind Your Language, a role he played throughout all 4 seasons. With his soft-spoken delivery and the iconic line, "1,000 apologies," Moses turned Ranjit into a television classic. Before his acting breakthrough, Moses worked at the University of Ceylon and made documentary films in Africa. Eventually, he moved to London to study drama, soon appearing in everything from Bollywood films to British stage productions alongside legends like Dame Diana Rigg. He was also one of the producers of Mind Your Language, overseeing 13 episodes. Fluent in 6 languages and skilled in fencing, singing, motorcycling, karate, and judo, Moses was a man of many talents. His film credits included An American Werewolf in London, 1981, and his final appearance in The Snarling, 2018, served as a fitting tribute to his legacy. Albert Moses passed away in London on September 15, 2017, at the age of 79. He was laid to rest in his hometown of Gampola. Dino Shafiq as Ali Nadim. Dino Shafiq, born Ghulam D. Shafiq on March 21, 1930, in Dhaka, became a fan favorite as the witty and argumentative Ali Nadim in Mind Your Language at 47 years old. Often locked in hilarious verbal duels with Ranjit, Ali was brought to life by Shafiq's sharp comedic instincts and unmistakable energy. After immigrating to the UK in 1958, he trained at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, having already performed in amateur theater back home. His screen debut came with The Long Duel, 1967, but it was It Ain't Half Hot Mum, 1974 to 1981, that solidified his presence on British television. As Chaiwala Muhammad, known for the catchphrase, "Chai Garam Chai," he charmed viewers with humor and heart. Behind the scenes, he led a quiet life, avoiding the limelight despite his popularity. On March 10, 1984, Shafiq died suddenly of a heart attack at his London home, just 11 days shy of his 54th birthday. His passing was a major loss to the comedy world. Zara Nutley as Miss Courtney. Zara Mary Chasib Jaber, better known as Zara Nutley, was born on August 19, 1924, in Cornwall, England. It wasn't until she was 53 years old that she stepped into her most iconic role, Miss Dolores Courtney, the stern, no-nonsense headmistress in Mind Your Language, 1977 to 1979, 1986. Running the English night class with the discipline of a military camp, Miss Courtney intimidated both students and staff with her steely glare and iron resolve. Nutley began her acting journey in repertory theater after a stint in amateur drama. She studied and later taught at the Florence Moore Drama Studio in Hove during the 1950s. Early in her career, she performed under different versions of her birth name, Zara or Zara Jaber, before settling on the professional moniker Zara Nutley. Outside of Mind Your Language, she was also known for her role as Eleanor in the final seasons of the British sitcom Never the Twain, 1981 to 1991, portraying a strict but sharp-tongued spinster with impeccable comedic timing. Zara Nutley passed away on October 9, 2016, in Uckfield, East Sussex, at the age of 92. Her portrayal of Miss Courtney, icy, authoritative, yet oddly endearing, left an indelible mark on British comedy. Ricardo Montes as Juan Cervantes. Born Levi Isaac Atias on September 20, 1923 in Gibraltar, Ricardo Montes would become one of British television's most beloved comic actors. At 54, he won hearts as Juan Cervantes, the charming Spanish bartender with a thick accent and a mischievous grin in Mind Your Language. A fixture across all 4 seasons, Montes's portrayal was both humorous and heartfelt, giving voice to the immigrant experience with warmth and flair. During World War II, his family was evacuated to England, and after returning to Gibraltar post-war, he juggled various jobs, including occasional film work. His big break came in 1958 while appearing in the film Wonderful Things. When actor Frankie Vaughan encouraged him to pursue acting full-time and to adopt the more Latin-sounding stage name Ricardo Montes. Moving to London in 1962, Montes became a go-to actor for Spanish-speaking roles on television, with credits in The Saint, Doctor at Sea, Don't Drink the Water, and later Sharp's Honor and Casualty. He even had a cameo in Mamma Mia, 2008, which would be his final on-screen appearance. Montes lived in Richmond, London, but often visited his beloved Gibraltar. Married to Orevita Hatchwell since 1953, he had one daughter and a granddaughter. He passed away from cancer on October 26, 2010, at his daughter's home in Marbella, Spain, aged 87, leaving behind the legacy of a man who brought Mediterranean sunshine to British screens. Robert Lee as Taro Nagazoomi. Robert Yafu Lee was born on November 30, 1913, in Tianjin, China. A brilliant student, he earned a history degree from Trinity College, Cambridge, arriving in the UK as an international scholar. But instead of a scholarly career, he took a surprising turn into acting, and at 64 became widely known as Taro Nagazoomi, the dignified Japanese businessman learning English in Mind Your Language, 1977 to 1979. Before acting professionally in 1944, Lee worked in Asian restaurants across Britain. Friends encouraged him to try the stage, and soon he found his niche, appearing in British film and television whenever a role called for an East Asian character. Over 3 decades, he amassed credits in productions such as You Only Live Twice, 1967, Half Moon Street, 1986, The Avengers, The Chinese Detective, and The Bill. Lee never married, once saying in an interview that marriage was too much responsibility. He lived alone in a modest Hampstead flat and remained active in film and television well into his 70s. After battling illness for 2 years, Robert Lee died on December 1, 1986, just 1 day after his 73rd birthday. Iris Sadler as Glattis. Iris Maud Sadler was born on March 22, 1908, in England. At 69, she became a beloved figure on British television with her role as Glattis, the cheerful and kind-hearted tea lady in Mind Your Language, 1977 to 1979, appearing in 20 episodes. Though not a main character, Glattis, with her gentle eyes and witty remarks, offered a quiet warmth that grounded the often chaotic classroom, making her the silent soul of the series. Before rising to wider recognition as Glattis, Sadler was a veteran character actress, having appeared in Dixon of Dock Green, 1960, and the film Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter, 1968. Her career, however, was emblematic of the harsh reality many older actresses faced, often limited to minor or background roles despite their talent. Her personal life was filled with challenges. Married in the 1930s, she was abandoned by her husband after World War II and left to raise 2 children on her own. In a time when divorce carried social stigma, Iris had to work tirelessly to support her family, taking every role she could, no matter how small. In her final years, Sadler lived modestly in London, her health declining and her income reliant on meager benefits. She passed away on January 12, 1991, at the age of 82. The press barely noted her passing, but to fans of Mind Your Language, the image of Glattis, with her warm smile and quiet presence, lives on. Tommy Godfrey as Sid. Thomas Frederick Godfrey, better known as Tommy Godfrey, was born on June 20, 1916, in London. He was widely recognized for portraying Cockney working-class characters, complete with a thick accent, quick wit, and unmistakable charm. In Mind Your Language, he appeared as a colorful guest character at 61 years old, delivering comic relief while highlighting the cultural tensions of a multicultural London. Godfrey began his career in variety shows and was once a tap dancer in the act Godfrey, Randall, and Dean. He later transitioned into solo comedy and became a staple of British pantomime, often playing the principal boy, a traditional comedic lead role. On television, Godfrey was a familiar face, appearing in hits such as Love Thy Neighbor, The Saint, The Avengers, Z-Cars, Bless This House, Steptoe and Son, and on the buses. Tommy Godfrey died quietly on June 24, 1984, just 4 days after his 68th birthday. Though often overlooked by the press, he left behind a legacy of laughter and authenticity, portraying the everyday man with warmth and wit throughout more than 3 decades of British television and theater. Russell Hunter as Jock. Adam Russell Hunter, born February 18, 1925, in Glasgow, was a familiar presence on British stage and screen throughout the latter half of the 20th century. At 54 years old, he made a memorable guest appearance in the episode I Belong to Glasgow, in Mind Your Language, playing a proud, opinionated Scottish cab driver whose clashes with the students offered sharp comedic takes on cultural and regional identity. Born Russell Ellis, he grew up in poverty with his grandparents in Lanarkshire and worked in a shipyard before entering amateur theater. His professional acting debut came in 1946, and he went on to work with major companies such as Perth Rep, Glasgow Unity Theatre, and the Royal Shakespeare Company, performing alongside greats like Peggy Ashcroft and Edith Evans. His most famous role was as Lonely in Callan, 1967 to 1972, a nervous, scruffy informant to a cold-blooded spy played by Edward Woodward. It became an iconic portrayal, reprised in the Callan film, 1974, and the TV movie Wet Job, 1981. Known for his dedication, Hunter once joked he had to wear cologne and shave closely just to wash off the lonely character after filming. He passed away on February 26, 2004, at the age of 79. Russell Hunter's life and work epitomize the spirit of the lifelong actor, committed, unpretentious, and deeply respected. Michael Shear as Police Sergeant. Michael Shear, born Michael Lawson Perkins on June 18, 1938 in Aberdeen, Scotland, may not have had a traditionally striking appearance, but he became one of British television's most recognizable villain faces. To global audiences, he is best known as Admiral Ozzel, who met his end via Darth Vader's forced choke in The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. To British viewers, he's forever remembered as the strict deputy headmaster Maurice Bronson in Grange Hill, 1985 to 1989, and as a 40-year-old cold, deadpan police sergeant in Mind Your Language, a comedic twist on his usual intimidating roles. A graduate of the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and a former Royal Air Force serviceman, Shear began his stage career at Perth Rep, where he once shared a flat with a young Donald Sutherland. From the 1960s through the 1980s, he appeared in nearly every major British television drama, including Doctor Who, Blake's Seven, The Professionals, Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, and Crown Court. Behind the stern exterior was a devoted family man who lived quietly with his wife, Rosalind Moir, from their marriage in 1961 until his death. Michael Shear passed away on August 31, 2005, from cancer at the age of 67. His 40-year career proves that even supporting roles, when performed with depth and conviction, can leave an everlasting impression. Sonny Calaldz as Surinder's father. Sonny Calaldz, born July 1, 1932, in Trinidad and Tobago, brought to life the character of Surinder's father, a stern yet humorous Indian father, in Mind Your Language in 1978, at the age of 49. While not appearing in Mind Your Language, he shared the screen and stage with many of its cast, and his impact on the era's genre television is undeniable. Known for his commanding physique, he was the go-to actor for roles requiring strength, silence, and mystery, particularly as the Ice Warriors in Doctor Who. Originally a professional wrestler, Calaldz transitioned into acting and portrayed Ice Warriors across 4 classic Doctor Who serials, including The Ice Warriors and The Monster of Peladon. He also appeared as Kemmel in The Evil of the Daleks, one of the show's most memorable roles. Outside Doctor Who, he had parts in Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Fifth Element, Arabian Adventure, and The Man with the Golden Gun. Sonny Calaldz passed away on April 12, 2022 in England at the age of 89. Though often cast in roles with few lines, his physical presence and screen charisma ensured he was always unforgettable. His legacy lives on in cult sci-fi fandoms and genre history. Zora Seagal as Mrs. Singh. Zora Mumtaz Seagal was born on April 27, 1912 in Rampur, then British India. By the time she appeared in Mind Your Language in the late 1970s at 65 years old, playing a sharp-witted, no-nonsense South Asian elder in guest roles, she was already 65 and carried with her a legacy of artistic rebellion and cultural defiance. Born into a Muslim aristocratic family, Zora lost sight in one eye due to glaucoma at the age of 1. She studied in Germany and became the first Indian woman to study modern dance at the Mary Wigman School. Her artistic path changed dramatically when she joined Uday Shankar's dance troupe, touring the world and later marrying fellow dancer Kameshwar Seagal, 8 years her junior and Hindu, despite familial opposition. After her husband's death in 1959, she single-handedly raised her children and restarted her life in Delhi. In 1962, she moved to London on a theater scholarship and became a pioneer for South Asian representation on British TV. She appeared in shows like Doctor Who, The Jewel in the Crown, and Tandoori Nights, carving a space for older Asian actresses in mainstream media, an extremely rare feat at the time. Even into her 90s, Zora played leading roles in Indian cinema, riding motorbikes and confronting villains. Diagnosed with pneumonia in July 2014, she remained lucid until her death from heart failure on July 10, 2014, at the age of 102. Zora Seagal's legacy is not just about longevity, it's about breaking every mold that sought to define her. George A. Cooper as Mr. Short. George Alphonsus Cooper was born on March 7, 1925, in Leeds, England. At 52 years old, he appeared in a guest role on Mind Your Language, playing the quintessential middle-aged Englishman, stern, blunt, yet laced with the dry wit so emblematic of British comedy. Though he appeared in only one episode, his naturally gruff charm and instantly recognizable face made a lasting impression. Trained initially as an electrical engineer, Cooper's plans were interrupted by World War II. He served with the Royal Artillery in India, where he first discovered acting while entertaining troops with a military theater troupe. That experience led him to the renowned theater workshop under Joan Littlewood after the war. Throughout the 1950s, he became a mainstay of British repertory theater. He shone on stage as Malvolio in Twelfth Night, but it was his portrayal of the domineering father Geoffrey Fisher in Billy Liar that defined his West End legacy. Offstage, Cooper was known for his offbeat backstage prank, pretending to soil himself moments before curtain call, delighting his colleagues with perfectly timed mischief. In his later years, Cooper continued to play irritable, authoritative older men, roles he made unforgettable. He passed away on November 16, 2018, at the age of 93. From Indian battlefields to London's biggest stages, George A. Cooper exemplified the resilience and craft of a true character actor. Gearbure Asante as Roger Kenyon, Frederick Christopher Kwabena. Gearbure Asante Erskine was born on November 4, 1941, in Accra, Ghana. At 36 years old, he guest starred in Mind Your Language, playing an African student learning English, mirroring his own journey as an immigrant striving for identity in Britain. Asante arrived in the UK in 1967, giving up his hereditary chieftaincy back home to pursue a dream in the performing arts. He trained at the Mountview Academy of Theatre Arts, which later created the Gearbure Asante Acting Prize in his honor. Under the name Christopher Asante, he appeared in shows like Space, 1999, The Professionals, Hazel, and starred as a clergyman in the film Local Hero, 1983. His career peaked in the late 1980s with the role of Matthew in Channel 4's beloved sitcom Desmond's. A sharp, ambitious, and often hilariously conflicted Gambian mature student. The character became a rare, dignified depiction of African immigrants on British television, with Asante's distinctive voice and timing making Matthew unforgettable. In 1995, he returned to Ghana and was appointed cultural ambassador, a symbolic reconciliation between his artistic achievements and his ancestral roots. Gearbure Asante passed away on August 2, 2000, in Accra. His funeral in Tafo Kwahu was conducted with royal honors, in recognition of a man who bridged continents and cultures with grace and humor. Doris Hare as woman speaker. Doris Bremer Hare was born on March 1, 1905, in Bargoed, Wales. When she guest starred on Mind Your Language in the late 1970s, she was already 74 years old. Her portrayal of a stern, rule-following older woman carried a warmth beneath the surface, much like Doris herself. Raised in a family of traveling entertainers, Doris began performing at the age of 3 under the name Little Doris Hare. From music halls and pantomimes to West End theaters, her career spanned nearly a century. During World War II, she hosted shows for troops on BBC Radio and was honored with an MBE for her contributions to the British Merchant Navy. She passed away on May 30, 2000, at Denville Hall, the famous British retirement home for actors. Doris Hare was 95. Her legacy is one of enduring dedication and joy, a performer whose career illuminated the stage from the post-Victorian era into the 21st century. Derek Ware as the Boatman. Derek Ware was born on February 27, 1938, in Manchester, England. At 41 years old, he appeared in a supporting role on Mind Your Language, usually cast in tough or physically active roles, true to his roots as one of the first recognizable stuntmen in British television. Raised in a family of performers, Ware began acting at the age of 4. But it was in the 1960s that he pivoted toward stunt work, founding his own company that supplied stuntmen for countless TV and film productions. His work defined action sequences in Doctor Who, The Italian Job, 1969, Willow, 1988, and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, 1991. In 1990, a serious injury forced him to retire from stunt performance. Refusing to leave the stage entirely, he shifted to teaching stage combat and fencing, passing on his knowledge to younger generations. Derek Ware died of cancer on September 22, 2015, in Eastbourne, East Sussex, at the age of 77. His legacy lives on in every breathtaking tumble and cinematic brawl he helped bring to life. Anne Way as Mrs. Hunter. Anne Way was born on November 14, 1915, in Wiveliscombe, Somerset. At 63, she made a delightful guest appearance on Mind Your Language, playing a timid, eccentric older lady, a role that fit her trademark persona, sweet, strange, and subtly haunting. She began her career in the 1950s in repertory theater in Birmingham and Dundee. Though never a leading lady, Way had a knack for making brief roles unforgettable. In Fawlty Towers, she stole scenes as a frail diner served raw fish. In Rumpole of the Bailey and Last of the Summer Wine, she brought warmth and wit to minor but memorable parts. Anne Way passed away on March 13, 1993, in London at the age of 77. Her performances reminded audiences that sometimes it's the smallest gestures, a nervous glance, a hesitant smile, that linger the longest. Margaret Courtourtney as Miss Hardacaker. Margaret Courtourtney was born on November 14, 1923, in Cardiff, Wales. At 55, she portrayed Miss Hardacaker in Mind Your Language, a stern, traditional English teacher who challenged Mr. Brown's idealism with sharp critiques and stony stares, yet always managed to amuse with her biting sarcasm. Before television, Courtourtney was a respected stage actress. A member of the Royal Shakespeare Company, she reached a career high in 1976 by winning the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Supporting Actress in Separate Tables. On screen, however, she was often cast in supporting roles, including in The Mirror Cracked, 1980, and Duet for One, 1986, where she brought gravitas and nuance to every frame. Her personal life was marked by quiet resilience. After a failed marriage in the 1950s, she raised her son alone while navigating an industry that sidelined older women. She remained active in community theater and lived her final years at Denville Hall, a retirement home for actors. Margaret Courtourtney died of cancer on February 15, 1996, at the age of 72. Her performances, however brief, carried the weight of a masterful craft, proving that depth, not duration, defines greatness. Janette Charles as Mrs. Baxter, Janette Dorothea. Louise Charles was born on October 15, 1927, in Marylebone, London. In 1978, at the age of 50, she made a memorable appearance on Mind Your Language in the episode Queen for a Day, playing a Queen Elizabeth II look-alike. Her uncanny resemblance, posture, voice, and regal presence left viewers wondering if they were actually seeing the monarch herself. From an early age, Charles was constantly told she looked just like the Queen, a resemblance that, ironically, hampered her acting dreams. Unable to afford Rada, she worked as an au pair in America, married an engineer named Ken Charles, and lived a nomadic life before settling in Essex in 1969. Her life changed dramatically when a portrait she commissioned as a gift for her husband was rejected by the Royal Academy, who believed it was a portrait of the actual Queen. The ensuing media storm made her the most sought-after royal double in Britain. Janette went on to play Queen Elizabeth II in The Naked Gun, 1988, Austin Powers in Goldmember, 2002, and even rehearsed state protocols with world leaders in place of the real queen. She famously turned down roles that might disrespect the monarchy, including an offer from Playboy, and even sought clearance from Clarence House before attending events featuring the Queen Mother. Janette Charles passed away on June 2, 2024, at age 96, in a care home in Great Baddow, Essex. She may not have worn the real crown, but she lived a life profoundly shaped by its shadow, earning affection and admiration for nearly a century. Harry Littlewood as Henshaw. Harry Littlewood was born on May 23, 1921, in Manchester. At 56, he portrayed the character Henshaw in a brief but memorable appearance on Mind Your Language in 1977. Though only on screen for a moment, his grounded, no-nonsense humor added another rich layer to the show's mosaic of personalities. Littlewood was a familiar face in British television, with regular appearances in Dixon of Dock Green, 1955 to 1976, and other programs. Despite his dedication and talent, he never rose beyond supporting roles. His personal life was marked by hardship. A gambling addiction strained his finances and led to the collapse of his marriage. Though a father of two, his long absences for work created emotional distance within the family. In later years, he struggled with heart disease and lived in increasing isolation. Harry Littlewood died in London in 2003 at the age of 82. While his role as Henshaw was fleeting, it remains fondly remembered. His life tells a deeper story of quiet perseverance, personal demons, and the often unseen weight of a life spent in the background of British television. Which actor impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.